Good morning and welcome to a very special episode of Morning Java, brought to you as always by our mutual friends at the Get Go Cafe and Market, where they are not only still in business, but they're offering now online curbside delivery. You just basically go into the app, order what you want, they bring it out to your car.
It's a pretty good deal, Dayon.
It is. This episode is made special because it will present an offer to the public, the inevitable, inglorious destruction of Christopher Carter that everybody's been waiting a week for.
Whoa.
Ever since the last episode of Java, in which he and Dale Lawley conspired to put out to the public all kinds of terrible untruths about comic book superhero superiority. So, Carter, before we get started here in your inevitable, I had to write it down, inglorious.
This is our fourth take, by the way, y'all, because he can't get it right.
I offer to you props. I brought props of the one, the only superhero that matters, and that is Green Lantern, meaning the Hal Jordan version of Green Lantern.
I came to offer a peace offering.
Oh,
I too have some props of Green Lantern. I have the best Green Lantern.
Oh no! You mean
Stewart?
You mean the second substitute down the chain after Guy Gardner was rejected as being his substitute? That's who you're talking about?
I'm talking about the guy that was in the best version that's ever been created for media about the Justice League, and that is the show.
Okay,
Justice League.
No, you'll win that one. The Justice League cartoon is the best version of Justice League ever, and Jon Stewart not only was in it, but also a vital character. In fact, I actually learned to appreciate the show, even though they picked the wrong GL for it. However,
they threw Hal in at some point.
They did. It was like some lame cameo just to keep people like me quiet. But when we're talking about superhero superiority here, the way you and Lawley took this thing to some bizarre extreme was who would beat who. And that, of course, is the ultimate and fun superhero argument that exists. And who did you guys end up with?
He chose Thor. I chose Batman.
He chose Thor because, in his words, he's a god.
Yeah, that was. It was like it's like recruiting Jesus Christ. I was like, whoa, I don't know about all that.
But you had who?
I had Batman.
Wait a second, Batman?
Yes, the Batman.
With no powers.
With no powers, and he will take you down. He already took down the Green Lantern. He broke Hal Jordan.
Okay, he's taken down a lot of people because he does his thing. He took down the whole Justice League at one point, and I'm sure he could take down anybody in the Marvel universe as well. You bring up a valid point. However, when you're talking about a Green Lantern, you're talking about someone whose power is based on willpower. You know, it's based on whatever it is that he thinks. As long as he has strong enough will, he can create it. Beat that.
That's the problem. Batman's will is so much stronger. Batman's will is so strong. He broke him in the Tower of Babel. He was like, guess what, John? I'm going to take it all from you. And he knew exactly how to psychologically do it. That's why Batman's so much better. I mean, he beat Superman. First of all you need is kryptonite. But he beat Superman. How can it beat Superman? That's why Batman's the best. He don't need powers, and yet he's still gonna beat you.
You're ultimately a Marvel guy, aren't you, in all seriousness?
I go back and forth. Batman's my favorite superhero, but my favorite team ever is the X-Men. It's kind of
an X-Men guy. Okay.
Oh, I'm a huge X-Men guy. I mean, I like the Marvel movies, but I mean, we all get that they're kind of more fanfare than anything else. But I mean, I love a lot of the old Marvel stories. One of the things that attracted me was just how the X-Men of the 70s. My Uncle Ben, he was a huge comic book collector.
The Chris Claremont, John Byrne X-Men, the classic X-Men, yeah.
Yes, when Wolverine and the new team get introduced to help save the original team from Krakoa, he gave me a crate. My Uncle Ben, he collected so many comic books. He gave me a crate that were basically a whole bunch of X-Men comics, and it started with that one. And
they were mesmerizing. I read them as a kid. I read those X-Men.
They were amazing.
They were fantastic.
And the connection to the civil rights movement and the discussions that were there, but also as a kid, you still are just so entertained. That won me over for Marvel. But I still I love DC.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I ended up switching to just one company a long time ago. I used to read both, and I ended up going with DC just mostly because, as you become an adult, you have less time in your life to read as many books, right? And so I just stayed on one side of the fence, and I've beyond fallen in love with the whole DC pantheon of characters when they are treated properly. The current Brian Michael Bendis Superman is fantastic. We've seen incarnations over the years of Batman, particularly by Frank Miller, that have just been, through the roof, brilliant. But when they're treated with respect, and that's what we'll talk about next. Now, one area where us DC types, particularly us Green Lantern fans, are accustomed to losing every argument is when it comes to movies. DC can't convert their characters into motion pictures for reasons that I'm not sure a lot of us really understand. Even on those occasions when they seem like they hit one out of the park, like Aquaman, which was really, really well done, there's still something not there. As great as Jason Momoa was, and bringing in Nicole Kidman and everything else that they did, there was still just something missing. They do have their outliers. Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot was fantastic. I mean, absolutely fantastic. I can't wait for Wonder Woman 84, but they can't hit it on Superman. They can't hit it on Batman. And let the record show that they've never made a Green Lantern movie. It did not exist.
Ryan Reynolds it doesn't happen.
Never happened. Obliterated from the face of the earth.
If you saw Deadpool 2, Deadpool goes back in time to kill himself, Ryan Reynolds, before he can make Green Lantern. So technically in that universe, it doesn't exist anymore.
There you go. That's great. I've heard about that. That's really funny.
But no, you're right. DC, I'll say the Christopher Nolan trilogy of Batman was very entertaining. Dark Knight, I thought, was a special movie. But I get the feeling that DC, they kind of stopped after the Nolan trilogy, and then they wanted to be Marvel way too quickly, because when they were starting to produce these movies, Avengers 2 was already done. And
they tried to catch up.
Right. And it's like, hey, guys, we love your stories. Just take it one at a time.
And that's what
Man of
Marvel
Steel,
did.
I was kind of like, what's up?
Yeah, that's what Marvel did. Marvel went and they made each of these characters, whether it was Thor, Captain America,
Iron Man.
Spidey's outside the Avengers, so he doesn't count. But Iron Man especially. I mean, the Iron Man franchise ended up really carrying everything into Avengers. And so when Avengers came together, it was like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, now it makes perfect sense because all of these characters have already been developed. And what DC did, the biggest mistake was going the Zack Snyder route, meaning total darkness.
Yeah.
Superman versus Batman was one of the worst ideas.
I was so mad.
I left the theater angry, angry, and that's really not what you're supposed to be feeling,
And like me, I was going there thinking like, all right, because it was my birthday. Like me and my friends, we were so excited. And I was like, listen, we're going in here with lowered expectations. And somehow you still don't even meet those lowered expectations. Yep. That's my problem with that movie. I mean, there were just so many what moments? That makes no sense. Why are you trying to do Flashpoint already? Like
Superman killing the guy. I'm not spoiling anything for anybody because we don't want you to watch it in the first place. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't go all dark with it. It just doesn't. It's never worked in superhero history.
The map for how to do this has already been laid out. Like we were talking about with the Justice League series, with Batman the Animated Series, that whole line of a story. You could follow the map that's been made for them and just develop it through movies. You could start with Batman. I think you could pick on some really good Superman stories. You could pick on some other Justice Leaguers and then use those stories to make individual movies and eventually bring a team up. Their makings are there. I think DC's just trying. They're trying to do all these different routes because they're trying to be different than Marvel, but do what Marvel did.
What's always been my fallback whenever you and I have had this discussion, and it's been many times, my fallback has always been that I don't care if they ever make a good Green Lantern movie because they made what I consider to be the best animated series of all time with the Green Lantern thing. Well, you waved, but you also you liked it.
It was cool.
It was I
But
thought it was the best thing I've ever seen.
It's not even top 10 in animated series. I mean, Batman the animated series is the GOAT. It's what set up the line for all of this stuff,
including Justice League, right? And DC's been great not only with animated series, but give credit here too. The TV series, whether it's Green Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, have all been pretty good too.
They've made that very entertaining.
But for me, that one season was all we got.
I was surprised they didn't come back to it.
It was such a mistake. GLAS. Of 25 episodes of it, I can't tell you how many times I've watched them, including on long flights to go cover sporting events.
I remember your flights where you were watching it, and we were just all like, DK, come on. It's the third time. that trip.
All right. This isn't even a fraction of my GL stuff. I mean, this was just what I decided to rush here to the Java set on our coffee table. I literally have a room of this stuff. However, it's in storage since our move to the Strip, so I can't. We're going to have it out by the end of this summer. It was one of the things I was hoping to do during this coronavirus shutdown, was to really establish the room, but we're not ready for it just yet. We have to wait for a certain someone to leave for college, at which point we will be taking over her room. In that event, though, we toss it the other direction. Here it comes.
Let me just so for those who don't know, my father is a bit of a collector of all things that he admires. So he has a man cave with several shrines. So we're going to take you into Casa de Carter, where my father, you notice this isn't normally where I film Java, but we're going to take you in. We're going to start with just some of his superhero collection. As a black man who loves superheroes. He's got Blade, he's got Luke Cage.
He does.
He's got Cyborg, he's got the Deadshot Will Smith, he's got Frozone, Falcon, Black Panther, Valkyrie. He's got the whole, and there's so many people in here.
He threw in Frozone.
First of all,
mixed Frozone in.
We all love Frozone. Then we go down just a little bit. We got Mace Windu, Morpheus, Darth Vader, Lando Calrissian. He's a huge Bruce Lee fan, so here's the Green Hornet. Here's the pendant that in every Bruce Lee movie, when you snatch off the pendant off his chest, he beats you up because of it. We come over here. There's an entire Black Panther collection where he's got the Throne of Wakanda. And DK, this was just superheroes, because I'm going to turn over here and we're going to start looking at all of his Steelers.
I didn't think that'd be very far.
So, this is right here. This is like the current Steelers. You got up front, you got Cam Hayward, TJ Watt.
There's Minka, yeah.
And he's got, so then you go down a little bit. Here's the generation before them. You got Hines, Troy, Kreider, Fanica's back there. And then you got a little bit on the defense. There's some Rod Woodson. There's Casey Hampton, Aaron Smith.
Now, hang on. What are these? These are figurines? These are
McFarlane's. I
was going to say, I thought they were Todd McFarlane pieces. For anybody who doesn't know, Todd McFarlane himself was a superstar comic book artist. That was the one he was the one who really took Spider-Man to another level. And then he ended up branching out into all kinds of things, not least of which was sports figures. But he actually became a part owner of the Edmonton Oilers. And you remember he redid the Oilers uniforms and the logos. Remember that metallic oil drop?
I remember reading about it. You know me, I'm not a super hockeyite, so I don't know all the details. But I do know that McFarlane's been involved in so much. And that's and that's what I'm saying, man. And if you're a collector out there, if you're a person who loves just getting sports trinket, I'm not. My father and I, we were never bobblehead guys, because I started this for him. I bought him one gift. I bought him 20 years ago as a kid, and ever since then, it has expanded into this collection. And we continue. Up top, here's Hugh Green, here's Tony Dorsett.
Look at that. Chilling. Pitt too.
We got Pitt, and then we just have Hall of Famers / just great players. Here's Chris Carter. Here's Paul Warfield. There's Ozzie Newsome, Shannon Sharp. There's some
that version of Chris Carter. He was a pretty one-dimensional player, right?
All I did was catch touchdowns, boy. What you talking about? Then we got the defensive level where we got LT, we got Ronnie Lott, we got Lanier, we've got Bruce Smith, Reggie White. Then we have the running back level where we got Sweetness, Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown, Curtis Martin, and whoa, almost dropped it. And then we even have a Western Pennsylvania group here where we got Johnny Unitas, LeVar Arrington, Brandon Marshall.
Go a little lower.
Oh, sorry, a little lower.
Can't see them. Yeah.
Okay, so there's Dan Marino.
There's LeVar. Hang on, let me try it. If you go a little lower here, I see Johnny U over at the left there. There's LeVar. Okay, help me out because they're a little blurry.
Okay, so we got Dan Marino in the middle, Kevin Barlow on the right, Brandon Marshall.
Kevin Barlow from
my
Peabody.
dad coached Kevin Barlow. They were on the '94 Peabody City League championship team.
Wow.
We got Joe Montana and Terrell Pryor. And then we have a special one where my dad, he went and made a whole bunch of customs, or he got a guy to make them for him. This is this Buccaneer here in the old orange cream uniforms. That's Dave Logan, Pittsburgher, went to Pitt, defensive tackle.
Okay.
He was really good friends with my dad, so like he always loved watching him. The guy
old school Bucks.
Old school Bucks. He was drafted in like the 7th round by those guys, and then he went on to become a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. Next to him is my uncle Benjamin Carter. He played for Clarion, and then behind those guys are myself in my Alderdice uniform and my dad in his Peabody uniform. So he went all out. So I'm telling you, man, like when you said props, I'm like, and we don't even get me started. We still got Pirates to go through, Muhammad Ali shrines and the Green Team.
Carter, we're gonna save this. We're gonna save the rest of this for some other time. I wonder where you got all this boundless energy from.
It's it's a mystery. I started it myself, and also that right next to me is the '70s Steelers. We will save those.
I will say this in general to kind of encapsulate this whole bizarre episode. There's something to be said for the collector mentality, isn't there? I mean, it's like when we get. I think Dale was with me on a drive recently where we ran into. They had these Justice League Kinder eggs.
Ooh.
And I saw that they had, all 5 of the.
That's really cool.
5 of the ones that I was including character. So you can imagine me at a turnpike rest stop, just hoarding these eggs like it's the end of civilization, right? And there's Lolly going. If you're not like a collector, you don't necessarily get that.
Yeah.
You got to have the whole thing. If you have 7 out of 8 or 9 out of 10, it's like,
Yeah, listen, you remember those little plastic helmets they sold in the
the pencil sharpeners.
No, not the pencil. They were just like the collectible helmets. They had no other use other than for display.
But originally they had pencil sharpeners in them. I'm predating you here.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So
you attached you affixed the pencil sharpener to the inside of the helmet. Yeah, those are the ones that I had. Most of the people watching this, I guarantee you are going, yeah, Carter, pencil sharpeners.
So my father and I, we had a full collection, and then we finally, it spent us like years trying to get every team, and then they introduced the Texans, and we were like, well, that's out. Like, it took us forever to find the Texans, so we found the Texans, but then the Giants switched the Giants from the Giants logo to the NY logo. And so then it took us like 3 years, like all through my college years.
Switched back. As long as we're clear, yes.
So it's I graduate college. I come back. We go to the O. Rest in peace to the O. And we're waiting for our food, and I see a little New York Giants helmet at the bottom, and I'm like, Pops, I can get this one. I put that quarter in. It came out. We were dancing on South Brooklyn Street. People didn't understand. We were like, what is wrong with these 2 grown men? And then
you have carpal tunnel from turning the crank.
Turning it, and you got to crank it because the O really didn't oil their machines too well, so you had to fight with it to get it to work. Man, I tell you, the collector's mentality, I get it.
And that was the only thing that O didn't oil well. I also will join you, however, in extending an RIP to the O. Carter, we will do this again. This was great.